Love you. I gotta go play on Super Bowl #1.
Thanks, Emeka. All right, folks, we will open up the floor for questions for Emeka Egbuka. Over here to the right, Don Taveri, WBNS.
Just a feeling you guys have for this game, getting another crack at these guys.
Yeah, we're super excited. I think that, I played in the Rose Bowl my freshman year. It's an amazing venue. It's so beautiful. They do a great job hosting for the players, the coaches, the families. So it really doesn't get much better than this. And having a chance to, redeem ourselves from what happened earlier in the season is something we don't take lightly. So we're very thankful.
Austin Ward, the podcast.
Mac, what if I told you that Jeremiah Smith wasn't the freshman of the year nationally?
I did hear that. Yeah, that's a little. I don't even know who won it. Who won it?
Colin Simmons from Texas.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. That's we know what we got here on our side. We're not too worried about awards and stuff like that. So I know JJ, the type of kid he is, that's only going to motivate him more. So it's fuel to the fire, which I think is good for us heading into this week.
When he got here, what was the first moment that you saw him and thought, well, this could be something?
I would say probably just his mindset. Not even obviously he's a freak when it comes to his body and stuff like that, just his physical nature. But I think just his mindset, the way he approached the weight room, it didn't really seem like a way a freshman would. And he was our only freshman ever to receive, an Iron Buckeye award, which, is something I was pushing towards my entire time being here. But, it takes another level of dude to be able to receive that reward, especially as a freshman. So, that's kind of when I knew.
Stephen Means, Cleveland.com.
More on that. When you and Marv first got here, Garrett and Chris were adamant about the way that you guys, even as freshmen, were pushing two guys who were about to be first-round draft picks. And then Marv kind of said the same thing about Carnell and Brandon last year. How did JJ push you guys when he first got here as the young guy, and now you guys are the older guys?
Yeah, I would say it's very similar. It's kind of the same exact thing. And, I don't know what it is about the culture in Zone 6, but we keep bringing in these type of people year in and year out. That's what makes our room so great. But I think that something that JJ was able to push me in was just, he was able to push me in my leadership. I needed to grow in that aspect, but he also was able to challenge me when it came to the weight room and on the field, because we were always paired together when it came to summer and winter workouts. We were always lifting together. I get a couple wins, he get a couple wins. So it was really that next level step of competitiveness that I needed and that edge that I needed.
Pat Murphy, 24/7 Sports.
Emeka, you guys came into the Tennessee game with a lot of outside motivation with Michigan loss and kind of the 3 weeks of talk. I know obviously there's still that motivation to go on and win a national championship, but how do you keep that kind of edge, for lack of a better term, mentally after some of that stuff has kind of gone away following a big win?
I would say kind of if you lose your edge, I wouldn't really call you a true competitor. I think that the way with the college football playoffs is structured, the intensity cranks up every single week. So if you're not more intense than you were the last week, then something's wrong with you. I think that, Tennessee was a great win, great for our momentum, but we have our full focus on Oregon, not worrying about anything in the past, nothing in the future. Our full focus is towards this game. And then, we win this one, we go on to the next one, our full focus is going to be on that one. So it's just you keep moving down the ladder like this.
Stefan Kreisnig, Cleveland.com.
Mecca, there's been a lot of changes in college football in the playoff and things of that nature, but the way you and some of your teammates and coaches talk about the Rose Bowl seems like that's one game that's really maintained a lot of that tradition. You played in it, you know what it's about. Could you explain it to us who've never had a chance to play in it, why the Rose Bowl has maintained that level of respect from players and coaches?
Yeah, I think I don't know. There's just something about it, something in the air down there in Pasadena. It's just a beautiful venue, especially that time of the year. Like you said, the tradition is held year in and year out. And it's kind of the game you dream of playing in when you're a little kid, playing backyard football with your friends. The Rose Bowl is always one that tends to come up. So just having a chance of playing it is definitely very surreal. And this is going to be my second time. So I'm going to do my best to take it all in while also being fully focused on Oregon.
Dan Hope, 11 Warriors.
Emeka, Will said he still has nightmares about that first game at Oregon. Just what kind of drive are you seeing from him this week, wanting to get back in this one?
Yeah, Will is he's a laser focused person. He goes about his business. He's very loose and he's very calm and he's able to rally the team. But you can see it in his eyes that this game means everything to him. So every single practice, every single huddle, making sure we're sharp, making sure we have a better practice than we had last than yesterday, a better practice than Oregon is having. So his full focus is on beating this team, and obviously it's hard not to think about the stuff of the past, but I know he's laser focused on what we got coming up.
Tony Gervin, Buckeye Huddle.
Emeka, when you were a kid playing in the backyard, dreaming about the game, what team were you playing for?
Honestly, I was never really a Buckeye fan until I really committed here and I saw what it was all about. I was actually an Oregon fan growing up, especially on the Pacific Northwest. My grandpa went to UW and stuff like that, so I liked the Huskies too. But there was a legendary football player named Fotu Liatu from my high school, and he went to Oregon. And a couple of y'all probably know that story from a couple of years back, but he tragically died in a car accident. And he was someone I looked up to in high school. I was relatively close with him, even though he was a bit older than me in age. But just seeing what he did at my high school and then going on to play big-time football at Oregon, that was a school that I really dreamed of going to.
Let's see, Bill Rabinowitz, Columbus Dispatch.
I hate to ask you another Jeremiah question, but I've got to ask you. Is there one moment, one play, one something that made you just go, oh man, I've never seen that before. That's just incredible.
Yeah, I would say it's happened multiple times. There's not really one I can pinpoint, but the more he does it, the more I tend to react less. So I would say probably my earliest memories of it were in spring ball, kind of getting the first glimpse of him when he's making all these ridiculous catches. And he still does it time and time again, even now, but it's just more common now for me.
Bill Landis, Columbus Kings of the North.
Emeka, you had, I think it was 12 touches in the first game against Oregon, 10 receptions, 2 carries. Is there something about this matchup that favors you? And now that you were that productive the first time you played this team, what kind of attention or I guess maybe different defenses are you expecting to see?
Yeah, I mean, we're not entirely sure what their game plan is going to be, but we're prepared for everything. I'm not going to get too much into scheme and stuff like that, but we know that if the ball comes our way, we got to make those plays. So whether I have 10 receptions again coming up this game or I have 0 or 1, we're just looking to get this win on the road because it's really a road game for us, flying across 2 time zones. So I think that, it's going to be a great matchup. Whether they tend to focus on me more or not, it doesn't really matter to me because I know our team has a great plan regardless.
Got time for a couple more questions. Spencer Holbrook, Letterman Row.
Are you guys ever surprised when the game ends and you look at the stat sheet and Carnell's only got 1 or 2 catches?
You can kind of feel it throughout the game, I would say. He's a true competitor. He wants to get involved, but at the same time, he's super selfless and he's really humble. So he's going to do whatever it takes for the team to get a win. But it's the competitive nature in him that wants to, contribute as much as he can. So, I try to be in his ear to tell him to be level-headed and stuff like that. Not that I need to. He's a very level-headed and selfless guy, like I'm saying. But sometimes that's just how the game goes. I had a game this year where I only had 1 catch, but we ended up winning by a lot. So I think that it's hard, or it's easy to be focused on the personal attributes that you can have game in and game out, but no one's really going to remember those if we're holding up the trophy at the end of the year.
It seems like he could be a number 1 on I think like 95% of college football rosters right now, but he's like number 3. When you see his work ethic, all of those things, that he goes up there and makes a play. Are you guys ever reminded, this guy could absolutely be a number 1 on most college football rosters?
I would disagree with you. I think that he is a number 1. I think that we don't have a number 3 receiver. I think we have 3 number 1 receivers out there. So whatever the defense, if they want to put their attention on one guy or a couple of us, they're not really doing themselves any favor because we're going to have a favorable matchup on the other side of the ball. So that's never how we view ourselves. We know we're alpha dogs out there. Every single one of us knows we have the capabilities to be a number 1 receiver, and we are number 1 receivers.
And final question, Steve Hellwagen, 24/7 Sports.
Yeah, Emeka, at the end of that game, you made one of the clutch plays that passed down the sideline. At any time when you make that play, are you thinking, did you ever in your mind think we're going to win this game after we're now close to field goal range? I mean, did that play in your mind say, my goodness, we've got a chance to get out of here with the win?
Yeah, I definitely knew where I caught the ball, and I knew we were, close to being in field goal range. So, there was a sense of, I knew it was a big play that I made, but in those moments, you have to finish out the game no matter what. You can't get a big head. You can't get complacent. You have to finish the game until the clock hits 0. So that's something we've been working on. We work on 2-minute every single Wednesday practice. So today we'll work on our 2-minute, and we don't even call it 2-minute. We call it clutch because in those games, in those big moments, someone has to make a clutch play. So we're focusing on that every single game, knowing that we're going to have to make one of those plays coming down the stretch here.
What would it mean if you're able to finish this one off and get to the Final Four of this playoff? Just what, in your mind, just would this be, just the ultimate, I suppose, to beat a team that's already beaten you earlier this year?
No, I think the ultimate would be winning the national championship. So, we're focused on this. This just happens to be the next team in the way. We're not focused on whether we played them earlier this year, whether they got the win over us. They're just a nameless, faceless opponent. So we're going out there fully prepared, not worried about what's happening in the past. We've played them before, we felt them out. So it's all about who got better from that point in time until now.
Emeka, thank you very much.
Thank you.